This week, we're diving into some unexpected RV adventures. We tear apart our dryer to uncover why it stopped working, only to discover something truly disgusting lurking in the vent.
Where I need to be is in that black little exhaust port right there.
Before we get to that though, Jeremy gives an update on our Viair air compressor, walking you through how we stay on top of tire pressure and torque checks to keep our travels safe.
So a couple of things here. This morning it was pretty cold out here. I think it's still only about 35, 36 degrees.
Plus, he shares why our smart water valve is a total game changer and how it seamlessly works with both Alexa and Google Home.
We really rely on this thing a lot. So I have a routine built within Alexa that whenever we leave the RV, we say, Alexa, I'm leaving.
As promised, we put our bike rack and cover to the test with a few bumpy travel days. Will they hold up? Stay tuned to find out.
This cargo net, like I said, I think it was one of you guys out there that recommended getting the cargo net. That was a genius idea. So a couple of things here. This morning it was pretty cold out here. I think it's still only about 35, 36 degrees, which means these tires have lost a lot of air pressure. They haven't lost any air, but they've lost a lot of air pressure because of the colder temperature. So we got to put significant air in these this morning. They were about 120 pounds when we left our last spot, which was there in Tampa at MacDill Air Force Base. And this morning they're at 113. So I got about 7 pounds I've got to put in here. And while I'm doing this, I just want to talk a little bit about this air compressor. A lot of you have watched my video on comparing a couple of air compressors. I used to have a tank style compressor that required 120 volt power, so I had to plug it into an outlet to use it. And I really liked that air compressor, except the fact that I had to plug it into an outlet, which for a lot of people isn't going to work all the time. If you get a flat tire on the side of the road, you may not have an inverter, may not be able to plug that thing in. The other thing is it just had some significant weight to it and it took up significant space. So now what we've got is this Viair pump, and I really love this thing. And I know that a lot of people like those portable air compressors, those battery operated ones like the Milwaukee or the DeWalt. And I've actually tried a couple of portable air compressors and they just didn't work for me. Both of them just popped some kind of seal on the inside after airing up or while airing up the second consecutive tire. And then it wouldn't air anything up after that. So I'm now just using this Viair exclusively. And the good thing about this one is, I keep it in the bed of my truck in my toolbox, and it is battery operated, or it's 12 volt DC operated. And I never go anywhere without having a power supply for this pump. It's either the car battery, the truck battery, or it's the RV battery. So that's the pump that we're using. And I don't have any plans on changing this anytime soon. It'd probably help if we turn that baby on. And so something else I really like about this Viair is it's super quiet. So it's not super early here, but it's probably about 8:30 or so. And so, there's probably still some people in bed, but I can run this Viair pump and not bother anybody. I don't know if you can hear it right now at all, but it's about 15 feet away from me, and it's just super quiet. I always use this little sport gauge by Slime when I'm airing the tires up, and that's because I don't think I know my gauge is not accurate. It's actually about 10 pounds off. It reads about 10 pounds high. So I just use this to verify all my tire pressures, because this one tracks almost perfectly with my TPMS. So, I figure I got two different sources giving me the same number. It's probably pretty accurate. And of course, we don't want to forget about the truck tires either. They've lost some significant pressure as well. They should be about 80 pounds when I'm towing I usually just keep them at 80 pounds pretty much all the time. And they're sitting at about 74, 75 pounds, something like that. So we got a little bit of work to do here too. Okay, tire pressures are done. And like I said earlier, I did a video previously, it was I think last spring, where I compared that tank style compressor to this Viair compressor. And so I'll go ahead and put the link down below and you can check that video out if you want. One of the things that I said in that video that wasn't entirely accurate was that I initially thought that Viair was really slow at airing up these tires, but it's actually not. It's at least as fast or maybe even a little faster than all the other compressors that I've used. So not only do I always have a power source for it and it's super quiet, but it also does a fairly good job, a pretty good job of airing up these tires quickly. So, all right, enough about the air compressor. The other thing we're gonna do this morning is I'm gonna make sure that we're still at the right torques on these wheels. And I think I've said it in the past, I don't do this before every underway, but I do this for several underways after I do anything with these wheels at all. So if I change a tire, then the next several underways, I'll check the torque on that tire, probably all 4 of them since I've got it out. Or if I do the brakes, or, you know, I just did the bearing work just maybe a week ago. We've had 1 underway day since then. And so I'm gonna go ahead and check these because basically I know that these wheels have been messed with recently. So I just wanna make sure for a few underways that the torques are all still good. Now, after that, I'll probably do this for 3 or 4 underways, make sure these torques are still good. And then after that, I'll check them maybe, you know, every 3 to 4 underways, just to give them a once over and make sure everything's still tightened up. The other thing I want to point out here is when you're doing torque checks, or anytime you're torquing a bolt, like for this torque wrench here, you can hear it click and you can feel it when it gets to the right torque. Some torque wrenches will give you a little beep when you get to the right torque. The one thing you don't want to do is take it any farther than it has to. Once this thing clicks, I stop. There's no giving it a little extra, because here's the reality of that is every time you do that, you're putting just a little bit more stress on that lug bolt, and eventually it's just gonna snap off, or you're gonna get to the point where you're not gonna be able to get that lug nut off. So if you hear it click, or you feel it click, or if yours beeps, when you hear it beep, just stop right there, right? Don't take it any farther than it needs to go. And then one final thing, I love this one. There's always that one guy, or actually it's usually several people that say, hey, you know, just get your torque gun out, give it 3 or 4 good ugga-duggas and call it a day. Sorry guys, if you're one of those people, that's not the way this works. That's a good way to lose a wheel, or, you know, strip out one of these lug nuts or whatever. Don't do it that way. Get yourself a torque wrench, find out what your torques are supposed to be, and just do it the right way. It's not hard. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for me outside for the most part this morning. I gotta pick up the septic stuff over there and put that stuff away. Water's all disconnected because we disconnected that last night because we had some cold weather, so we were just on the water tank and the pump. So all that's done. So yeah, septic, gotta take the internet down, and then we'll get hitched up and get underway, and then undo everything that I did this morning when we get into the new spot. All right, so how are we doing in here? What are you doing?
I am making sandwiches for lunch.
Oh. Okay.
So, let's see, I got sandwiches. We're out of Red Bulls, but I did get you a sparkling water.
Okay.
It's in your Bucky's
Koozie?
koozie, yep.
Okay. And is he done shivering and shaking? Somebody doesn't like it when I do torques and anything that basically makes any noise outside or vibrates or shakes the rig at all. He doesn't like it. He's kind of a wuss.
He's kind of a wuss. Yep. Let's see, what else? Oh, I heated up eggs. So.
Oh, okay. I'll have some of those.
We can have some eggs.
All right. That's it, huh? How far along are you? She's not pregnant, guys. That's not what I meant. Not happening.
Pretty close to being done. It's just like the last minute stuff that you can't do until the last minute. So
I think that's why they call it last minute stuff. Yeah. Okay, all I have to do is septic and internet. That's
okay.
it. So, all
right.
I'm not in a hurry though. What time is it? It is.
It's 10 till
o'clock.
10.
So
we're going to be out of here till 11, but we can't get into the next place until 4, which I think is
silly.
Kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter when sun goes down at like 5:30.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll take our time getting there. Okay, so it's a little late. It's a couple weeks late, but I got my own Christmas dad joke.
Okay.
What did Santa Claus say after he delivered all the presents in record time?
I'm ready for a nap.
Man, I really slayed it this year.
So funny.
Okay, so while we're eating here,
Okay.
the sandwiches that she was making earlier, stop at Love's. Love's is by far my favorite truck stop.
Yeah.
Normally, almost always, easy to get in, easy to get out. They seem to have the best parking lots. TA's, their parking lots seem to just be awful. So anyway, Love's is my favorite. Plus, they have, I think their facilities inside are nicer too. Mm-hmm. And they always have my taquitos that I like. But the real reason I wanted to talk here is I wonder, see if our open roads, see how much we saved here. I don't even know. So she's going to pull that up in the app. I don't know how much we saved here. Sometimes these will post right away, or sometimes it takes a couple of minutes.
We saved $10.11. Love's now only has a 15-cent transaction fee.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Used to be 40 for them, or maybe a quarter. I don't remember, but 15 cents now. So had we just walked in off the street, no open roads, it would have been $3.78, $3.79. And I think we paid $3.28.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
50 cents? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the past, that's what we said that we average is about 50 cents per gallon. So how much DEF did I get?
3.92 gallons at $4.28 a gallon.
So it almost paid for our DEF, our savings.
Almost, yeah.
So for those of you who are out there that still don't have open roads or haven't heard of it, open roads is a great way to save money on diesel fuel.
Yes.
Not gasoline. They don't do gasoline
Not yet.
They're working on it. Of course, they've said they've been working on it for
About 2 years.
2 years at least since we've been members. Anyway, the other bonus is that you get to go through the big lanes, the trucker lanes, which makes it so much faster. All right, we're going to finish stuffing our face and get on down the road. Okay, so before I close all this up for the night, so I got all the water and everything hooked up. Before I close it up though, because I was just in a location where somebody asked me about this again. I get this quite a bit, and I know I've mentioned it a few times on the channel, and there are probably a few of you who watch us regularly that maybe you're tired of hearing about it, but that's okay. You can skip this if that's the case, but I want to talk real briefly about this little contraption right here, this little gadget. So this is a smart water valve, and it is compliant, or it works with, I guess, Google Home, and it works with Alexa smart devices. So what that means is I'm able to remotely operate this valve here, and I've got it hooked up to the city water inlet, and we really rely on this thing a lot. So I have a routine built within Alexa that whenever we leave the RV, we say, Alexa, I'm leaving. And she does a couple of things, but one of those things is that she will close that water valve for us. And I don't have to do anything other than tell her that we're leaving. So we do that every time we leave the rig. Well, most of the time when we leave the rig. And those times that we do forget, one of us will generally remember at some point shortly after we leave, and we're able to either just tell our phone or get on the Alexa app or whatever and close it from wherever we are. This thing is Wi-Fi enabled. You can operate it anywhere, right, via Wi-Fi. It connects to a little hub inside of the RV, and they talk to each other. The hub and the valve talk to each other Bluetooth, but it's Wi-Fi enabled, so you can operate that thing from wherever. So I've really always got confidence that when we leave the rig, we know that our water is getting shut off. And this thing has saved us a couple of times because I've also got it paired with my Govee water sensors. And I've got those Govee water sensors, just like many of you, I've got those strategically placed throughout the RV, basically in all the different places where you're most likely to have a leak. And then when those Govee sensors sense that there's a water leak somewhere, it shoots a signal to Alexa, and then Alexa in turn will shut off the water to the rig. And this has saved us a couple of times, probably, actually I would say a handful of times, probably 4 or 5 times where we had a leak that we didn't know about. Now, granted, it was never a big leak, but you know how that works, right? If it goes on for a long time, it can be just as disastrous as a big leak. So probably a handful of times, this thing has saved us where we had a leak and it shut off the water to the rig. And of course, when that happens, those Govee sensors will also alert us on our phones that we have a leak somewhere. So we get the alarm, and then the water gets shut off, and we don't have to worry about it. So again, I just wanted to revisit that because, you know, whenever you're setting up in a campground, people can always kind of see what you're doing over here. Everybody's a little bit nosy, and that's okay because we all want to see what each other has. But I get that question a lot about what that gadget is. So that's what it is. That's what it does for us. Now, I have already made an entire video on this thing, and it was quite a ways back. So the production isn't great, but there's some really good information in there because it can be a little bit tricky to get all of that set up. But I have a video on that. I will put it in the description of this video down below. So if you're interested in one of these, check out that video, see what this thing can do. I do a demonstration on there. And then the other good thing is that valve's only like 35 bucks. So this whole process is simple to install, simple to set up, and it's super cheap. I don't know why more people aren't doing something like this. This thing is also, you can also put it outside if you want to. You could put this on the spigot if you want to, if you would rather have it outside, just in case there's a leak at that point right there. I get it. I figured this is a wet bay. If I ever get a leak in there, it should all just drain right out. But if you prefer to put it outside, it is weatherproof, so you can do that as well. I just like to keep mine in here because I want to keep it out of the weather. I think that'll just keep it lasting longer. But they're only 35 bucks on Amazon. I'll put that link, the Amazon link for this thing, below as well. Super cheap, easy to set up, easy to install. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. All right, real quickly on the bike rack as well, I think I forgot to give you an update at the last spot we were at, like I said I was going to do. So now we've had 2 underway days on this and haven't had any issues whatsoever. I don't think there's a lot of flopping around back here. This cargo net really helps out from keeping that cover from really flapping in the wind. And I can't even tell it's back here. On our last rig, we had a little cargo rack back here, and it only had maybe 100 pounds on it or so, maybe 125 pounds on it. And I could actually feel that thing bouncing around going down the road. So this one is much, much better. I don't even know it's back here. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. I can't remember the name of the bike rack, but I'll put a link to that down below. I think it can hold bikes up to a 5-inch tire. And then this is a Team Obsidian bike cover. So I'll put that down there as well as the cargo net. This cargo net, like I said, I think it was one of you guys out there that recommended getting the cargo net. That was a genius idea. So I'll put the links for all 3 of these down below because I really like this bike rack. Not only the fact that it seems to be pretty solid going down the road, but the way that it's built and the way you get the bikes on there and how everything is strapped in and secured. So I really like that. So I'll go ahead and put the links for all 3 of those down in the comments as well. So a little bit more appliance trouble here. So Candace was noticing that the clothes weren't really getting super dry. You can hear that in the background. I apologize, but I need this thing running because we're going to test the airflow on it. We've got it on a dry cycle, and I've got a Kleenex here. We're going to do a little bit of a Kleenex test on the exhaust back there. I've got the hose disconnected, so we're going to see what that looks like. I don't think it's putting out much air. I tested it. I went outside yesterday, and we've got the exhaust on the outside for this dryer. It's the kind that's got little flaps that will open up when it gets airflow, and the flaps weren't even open at all. You could feel some more moist air in there, but the flaps weren't opening at all. So it tells me we've got an airflow problem. All right, so we're going to stick this Kleenex down here. And yeah, you can see there's a little bit of airflow, but not much. And actually, if you stick your hand down there, you really can't even feel any air coming out. So we're going to pull this thing out and see if we can find I don't know, something blocking the airflow in there.
How's it looking back there? You comfortable?
No, it's hot back here. So I think we're going to start with, I don't know, I think I may remove this panel here. I may remove this here where the hose clamps on. See if I can get my hand in there a little bit better. Because right now you can only reach in there just a little bit, and I can't really tell what's going on. So we're going to start with removing these things and see what we can find. So this is all we've got inside of that access cover. I don't know that that gained me anything. Where I need to be is in that black little exhaust port right there. So that is what I need to access. I just don't know that I'm going to be able to do anything the way it is. So let's see what happens when I take this thing off. See if we can get our hand in there a little bit farther. All right, so there's a little bit bigger of an opening there, but still it's not great. And I mean, I can feel some lint and stuff in there. I just don't know if there's a total blockage. All right, so now I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I can pull that away from the drum. I stuck my hand in there. It feels like it maybe just kind of stuck on there, like there's no clamp holding it on or anything. So that's what we're gonna try. All right, so I got that thing pulled off of here, and you can see there is a retaining ring that goes on there. I don't know how hard that's going to be to put back on. That could be a huge pain in the neck, but there's a lot of stuff in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this out as well. This just pops right out. There's no retaining clips or rings or anything on there. So we're going to pull this whole thing out of here, and we're going to show you what's in here because it's nasty.
Yeah.
So we've had this for 3 years, and we've never done this. So
nope, I guess it's time.
we're going to add this to our checklist of maintenance items, I guess. All right, here it is. That
is nasty.
I don't know if it's nasty so much as it's just, I mean, it's obviously, that's why we have no airflow. Don't you ever do any maintenance on your stuff?
I clean out the little ring.
The little ring?
The seal.
Oh, the easy part?
What else am I supposed to do? This was a 2-man job to get this thing out of here.
Well, I'll help you. All right, here we go. Ugh.
That's like an entire sock.
Yeah, it's like a whole rat.
Ugh.
Guess I'm in there too, huh?
Not too bad. I mean, that's actually wet. So we're gonna give this a good cleaning. Get it all nice and back to factory specs, hopefully. And
I'm
then,
gonna check down here. I'm gonna see if there's anything in there. I will do that off camera because I can't really hold the camera and do that at the same time, but we'll see if there's anything stuck in there as well. And then I'm just gonna stay back here until you're done cleaning that.
okay.
All right, so it's all cleaned out. You can see all the way through it. Now, you can't see through it in the camera, but if I were to bend this, there we go. We can see all the way through it. And so I'm gonna put this back in, and I'm not gonna show it on the I'm not gonna show this because it takes two hands. Candace got to hold the light, and I can't hold the camera and do this, and it's a one-person job back here. All right, we got that back on there. It really wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. So the key here is that clip that we saw, that retaining clip, that screw has to go all the way on the right, or all the way on towards the wall of, so out on that side, because there's a little area there that will allow that screw, well, let's just put it this way. If it's over here, if it's somewhere over here, that screw gets in the way and you can't actually put that boot on there. So that screw has to go all the way over to the right on that retaining clip. Other than that, it was fairly easy.
All right, we got it turned on. Now we're just waiting to see if we have better airflow.
Oh, baby.
Woo!
I'd say that is a little bit of a difference. We've been clogged up for a while. All right, so this is the Splendid washer dryer combo. So if you've got one of these, and I know a bunch of you do out there, then you need to add this to your maintenance list. So we're gonna, I think, maybe put an official or an actual kind of inspection on this, or whatever, maybe every 6 months to start with, and we'll see how it goes. But the real easy test for this is really going to be just paying attention to what's going outside in the outside exhaust vent. Like I said, we have our vent has the little flappers that will open and shut, you know, with the airflow.
Louvers.
So yeah, it's louvered. So that should have been our first indication. I haven't been paying attention to that thing in a long time, so I'm gonna have to pay a little bit more attention to that, and I think that'll be our clue that we need to do this. So at any rate, every 6 months probably for now, until we get a good idea of how long it takes for that to happen, because that was nasty. We've lived in houses before where I have never had to do this. So anyway, that's it, easy fix. We're gonna go ahead and check the hose here, make sure that it's not all clogged up. It's probably okay. We're gonna do that. If we find anything, we'll show you. If not, we're done.
And the last step is reinstalling the anchor brackets to anchor it to the floor so it doesn't move during travel. I'm sure there is a better way to do this. Supposedly you can do something inside the unit, but that seems really hard. So we just got these L brackets, and Jeremy just screwed it into the frame and then the closet floor.